That's my baby. That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored! They did it!
Left, feet left.
What the hell was that?
Oh, yeah!
What the fuck are you talking about?
With you. You have to ask questions. Hey guys, welcome. Look, it's just a mom-son thing, you know what I'm saying? We have our guest co-host, Andrew Haney. Hello. You guys recognize him from last week on Burt Watson. I have great show lined up for you guys tonight. Let me tell you, we got some live music. The first time ever you'll ever hear, well, you shouldn't say ever hear, but his debut, he decided to debut on our show today, and that's Brody Manson and Sean. Okay, wait a minute. This is really bad. You have to excuse me. I'm very bad with new names. So hold on a second. Let me think here.
Give her a second.
This is bad. This is really bad. Look, I told you guys I was not professional, and I will make mistakes. Sean Harp. Sorry, Sean. I got mad love for you. Please forgive me. And so the name of their band is Shotgun Savior, and I'm so excited. No, that's not what it is. Why am I getting this all mixed up? I guess I'm really nervous today. I don't know why. No, I did that right. It's really. Shotgun Savior. I did say it right. That's the name of their band. It's the two guys. We had him on once before on our show a couple of weeks ago. He's decided to debut 2 brand new songs never released on this show. Yes, you heard it. This show. Yes, this show. We got the exclusive. And then we're going to have Pat Miletich. We're going to talk to him for a little bit on the last hour at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. I want to thank you to all the people who are following the show and have liked and shared the show. We are almost to 500 likes on Facebook. Keep sharing. We're about 99 away from a giveaway. I might be a little more generous and do 2, maybe 4 giveaways. I don't know. But you can win a show t-shirt. And I also wanted to say, Destin, you're marvelous.
Oh, I know. I know this.
So we've got some great things lined up, and I'm really excited to have Pat on later. So we're going to talk about his history. If you don't know who he is a UFC Hall of Famer. He's been in the fight game for a long time. He's broadcasted for several different events. We'll get into that later on the show. So you guys stay tuned for that. And then our guest, look at him. It's our guest host, this guy. When are you going to start, training for MMA?
Oh, I've been doing my little.
That's the year.
I've been doing my thing, in my house since COVID. But no, I'm ready to start kicking it off, and I'm ready to talk to you and see what we can figure out, and talk to some people and see if I can get another run at this for fun, and have fun doing it. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I feel like you're so far away. How does he sound, guys? Is he far away? He's going to use his big boy voice. Destin, I also wanted to say you have a show coming up. You're training for a bodybuilding show. What show would that be?
Yes, I am. And the only 2 shows that I'm thinking about right now are from Shredded Cheddar Productions and then Demetrius Lykos. Forgive me if I'm saying the name wrong. I probably am.
We are not perfect.
We are both related, in case you're wondering.
I hope so.
But I think it's Fox City Showdown and then Brew City.
Where's the Fox one at?
I believe they're both in Waukesha.
Waukesha?
So, yeah.
I think. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh no! Wait, I think he's using a high school, so I don't know. I'm not sure.
I think. Yeah, I don't know.
He made a post earlier today where he said he might be
with
using
the location.
yeah. So those are the 2 shows I'm thinking about. If I if I'm ready for it, if I can, if the coach gives me the green light, says that I'm good and I look good enough to do a show, I'll do a show then.
He always looks good. I am so jealous because this little guy, well, big guy, can eat pints of ice cream on his off season and drop weight within 6, 7, 8 weeks. Don't you hate that, ladies? He can eat whatever he wants, and then when he's ready to lose weight, it just drops right off. It just melts off his body. I wanted to let you guys know our poll question tonight. So listen, guys, this is going to be a fun question. Okay, for all you stoners out there. I know there's a lot of stoners. Oops, sorry. Okay, me too. All right, well, maybe. That's when just edibles. Yeah. Shh, sorry. Okay, maybe I'm not allowed to say that, but ignore what I just said. So the poll question is, now that UFC Anti-doping won't test for marijuana, should fighters no contest fighters be overturned? Agree or disagree? That's a good poll question, guys. What do you think? What do you think, Andrew?
Yeah, so first off, I'm excited that they took that off, because I feel like if someone wants to do it and they want to get into the ring all whatever and be tired, good. That's better for the other person, shit, But hey, I know, Diaz brothers can do it and can make it 5 rounds, 10 rounds. So
hey, maybe it provides that mind clarity,
I mean, if you can get it right, and it takes like 30 days sometimes to get out your system. It's just ridiculous. So yeah, I'm down, and you know what? I'm down for the no contest. I don't think it's performance enhancer. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look at Amy. Amy could get up on stage, do all her little bodybuilding poses, and not fall.
There's no way in hell she does.
I know some people that wouldn't be able to do that. He'd fall over, or they would not be on point. Like Amy is freaking on point. That girl is like a master.
It's weird how she can focus while being high. Like,
I have to say that because it's just recently been like that, I would have to say,
Or is it too late?
Right. It might be too late for those who got hit with it in the past, but going forward, I think that it shouldn't even matter moving forward. But I don't know, overturning stuff from the past, that might be a little difficult to do. What do you think, Haney?
I'm gonna see.
I call him Haney.
Big ones. Trying to see which big ones we've.
Well, you had. Well, you had. Well, I don't think she. Jessica Evil Eye.
Was this?
We had. There was that one point.
Like right before the show, or like.
No,
right
they've.
Shaw's office.
That's what I was wondering. Like, or because it stays in the system for quite a while, so I'm like, okay, so anybody who smokes at any period of time, you're screwed.
Right.
Man.
And that's just the pizza. That's like a hair.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering. Like, how do they know? Like, they smoked like just before, or?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm trying to read because I'm blind as a bat. But what does it say? Michael said. Matt.
Would have in heaven with this change.
Yeah. I don't know. How can you?
And I don't know smoking a joint in the lobby as they're walking out to the. It's. I've been at places where we took a shot right before the fight because it's calmed me down. I've been at that point like, man, this is a lot. People are cheering.
That's why I feel like that would
posters.
do. I feel like it would just help you focus.
Like I said, I don't think someone's trying to smoke.
But doesn't it make a difference what the strand is? Because I've learned like indica and then sativa. Is sativa the one that makes you sleepy, or is the indica make you like what?
Indica in the couch.
In the couch. Oh, I like that. Indica in the couch.
Put you in the couch, and sativa will keep you up and going.
Oh, so sativa speed.
Now, don't get that twisted. If you smoke 5 blunts of some sativa, it's gonna put you on your ass, guys. So
okay, all right.
So let's not get crazy. But
you're not gonna be up and around.
You take a couple hits of some sativa, yes, it should make you want to go about your business. But those indicas are supposed to be more THC and all that good stuff. But yeah, so yeah, indica in the couch.
In the couch.
Learn
I
something
like
every
it.
day.
In the couch. I'm so excited.
Not gonna lie.
So
I did not know the difference until you just said something. I'm like, wait, what?
And
like,
then
I knew one made you tired, one made you.
So is it just 2
And
strands?
there's hybrid.
Oh well, we're not gonna go into 30,000 hybrids because I know there's purple,
Right.
there's hydro, there's all kind. Well, I don't know those things.
Yeah, you
Don't
sound
tell
like, what?
No, look, back in the day, okay. Anyway.
Got around.
New world nowadays.
anyway, guess I'm so excited because we have Brody. Brody is available, and Sean.
Oh yeah.
You guys are
I'm
in
looking
for it.
forward
People
to that.
watching.
I
you
am
are
so
fine.
excited. We got to see the sneak preview. We did a sound check before you guys all came on, and oh my God, I wanted to get up and get to dancing because it
But
sounds so
I-
good.
I
It's
missed
fire.
out.
She still
I missed
might.
out.
You guys won't.
Yeah.
possibly
This
see
will
it,
be my
but
first
she
time
might
with you
be
guys.
out.
You guys are in for a treat.
Yeah, no, and just like last year, they did a lot of the virtual like stuff for others. You guys will be in for a treat. You guys will be at a show. This will be legit live. This you haven't heard this
Okay.
before. This is raw. This is very exciting.
Raw,
So,
unedited.
I was excited.
It's-
Then I heard that, and I was like, "Oh man,
It's gonna be good.
It was
It's gonna be
rocking,
good.
let me tell
can
you.
we just keep it going?" But yeah,
Just start the show with it, you know.
Where is Brody? Where are the guys at?
Yeah, let's get 'em
Where
on
are
there.
you? Shotgun saviors. Where are you?
What are we doing here?
Here we go.
There you
Hey!
Woo! All right.
There we go.
I'm so excited. So let's go into a little bit of a history here. How did you two meet? How did you guys get together? How long have you been?
We were at an Obama support rally, and no, that's bullshit. That's all. Actually, I am known under many names. I have multiple personalities, and they're all schizophrenic, and they're all bipolar. So some of you may recognize me from the professional wrestling world as Goth Black. Tonight, the other side of my evil, twisted, fucked up personality is taking over. Brody fucking Manson. I am here with the king of the sixth string, Mr. Sean Z. And we're part of the band called Shotgun Savior. We are America's last great rock and roll band. In the tradition of Aerosmith, Kiss, Van Halen, we continue to fly the flag and make good quality rock and roll for American patriots to rock the fuck out to.
I fucking love it. I love it. So
And
how?
this is something we ask everybody to do, is to take a shot, because the more fucked up you are, the better we sound. That's a fact.
Oh,
So Rachel, Rachel, this is for you, you hot, sexy beast.
thanks, guys. I like being a sexy beast. Check me out in 6 months. I'll be even sexier.
Oh, God, that was good.
I fucking, oh my God, stop it. I
So
love it.
this is our, I wanted to tell everybody, this is me and this guy. This guy has put up with my bullshit for a year, and I'm not the easiest motherfucker to deal with. I'll go ahead and tell you, I am not. We have a Simmons-Stanley kind of relationship, and you can guess who the fuck is Gene in this motherfucker. But anyway, he braved the storm, and I decided after 25 years of wrestling, little known fact, way back in the day before I ever put on a pair of tights or laced a pair of boots, I was a hairband guy, man. I was, believe it or not, hand to God, I was a dead ringer for Nikki Sixx, so much that I fooled the band Judas Priest into thinking I was Nikki Sixx. That's another story. He was there. True story. Nonetheless, I signed his sister's boob because she thought I was Nikki Sixx. But, you know, I digress.
Can I get your autograph?
And so I go on, man, and I'm, you know, I'm playing in hair bands, and I'm this. I look like something I'd fucked the night before. You know, I mean, you know, makeup, lipstick, big hair. You know, like some kind of drag. Because I'm 6'4", I've been 6'4" since like fucking kindergarten. You know, and I'm, you know, 160 pounds, lace up crotch leather pants with the eyeliner and the black nails. And no shit, I'll send you a picture, and you'll be like, this motherfucker here. But anyway, so you know, long story short, my dad, Rod Price, my uncle, Stone Cold Steve Austin, decided to follow my family's footsteps and become a professional wrestler. And thank God it worked out, and I had a successful 25-year career. But during this process, I met so many people in the entertainment industry. I grew up in, you know, out of Louisiana into Georgia, and I'm friends with the Georgia Satellites and REM and Collective Soul and all these guys way before they were famous. And I had a friendship with these guys, and they kept saying, dude, you got to get in a fucking rock and roll band. You got to start a band. And my friend Chris Jericho, who fronts the band Fozzy, who is fucking awesome, said, a wrestler funding a rock and roll band? That'll never work. But anyway, so I said, you know what the fuck, man? I got so much interest from so many people in the industry that can make wheels turn. And I said, you know, why not, man? I mean, Chris is doing it and he is fucking it up out there with Fozzy, man. They're fantastic. And I said, why not, man? I still play music. I love it. Why not go out there and rock and roll and really bring back some ass kicking, good American foot stomping, whiskey drinking, joint smoking, fucking rock and roll, you know? So that's what I decided to do. Sean signed up. He's now under contract and has no choice. He has to deal with me. So tonight, for the first time ever, we wanted to debut. This thing has been in the works for a year. And
nobody else
to debut our whole thing. Like tonight launches the fan site Shotgun Savior on Facebook. Tonight launches the whole thing. Our promotional package is going out to a lot of people in the industry. Tonight we wanted to really kick it off, and your show is going to be the first time we have ever performed live in front of anybody. Me and this guy, the king of the sixth string right here, Mr. Sean Z. And we wanted to debut 2 songs. We're doing one called, what is it, Sean? Name of the first song? Southern Justice. And it's all about guns, God, glory, and run fucking by God roll, you know? And it's just an anthem. It's a raise your fist. We're not going to take your bullshit. We're not going to drink your Kool-Aid. You know, we're going to stand up for what's ours, God, guns, glory, and hot women. So that's what we're all about. And then we're going to do a cover later in the show. First time ever. This is brace yourself, because everybody's, as soon as I say this, everybody's going to say, oh, they're going to butcher the shit out of that. But we're doing Rhiannon by Fleetwood Mac. Now, picture me as a Stevie Nicks. But anyway,
hey, I got the girl. Send her.
It's going to shock. She's the best, man. And it all started as a joke. Like I was sitting around one day and just fucking around, and I started singing Rhiannon. And I was doing it in a Stevie Nicks voice, and looking the way I look, I'm, Rhiannon is like a candy. And everybody's like, holy shit, you sound like Stevie Nicks. So,
I'll put on the
shit out of it. And we decided, you know what? Why don't we actually do this song? And this is the very rough version. The polished version will be on the CD. But this is just a stripped down semi-acoustic. As you can see, we got the Les Paul and Stratocaster rocking here. But we wanted to do it on your show because, Racheal, you fucking rock. And we love you.
Thank you. I love you guys too.
The longest answer in the world. I am never shy on words.
That was a long answer. Hey, are we going to hear from your boy, Sean? Is he going to speak? Is he going to talk?
He's not allowed to talk.
Wait, your mic is off.
See? I told you.
Unplugged it before the show.
Yeah, I did that on purpose. He says nothing. Nothing.
Yeah.
Mic check. Mic.
Chicka chicka.
I know.
Well, he's got to make the magic happen here. Yeah. Yeah, he's not allowed to talk. He doesn't get to say much. He just kind of nods and, goes, yeah, Brody, yeah.
So who writes the lyrics? Was that
okay, they're back. We both actually do this in collaboration. Like I'll come in with lyrics and he'll come up with a guitar riff, or I'll come in with a riff and he'll add to it. I mean, it's strictly, like I said, it's a very Jaggers, Richards, Stanley Simmons kind of thing. Lennon McCartney. Here I am comparing myself to the greatest guys in the history of rock and roll. But what the fuck? But anyway, so we just have a partnership, man. It's all over the place. Sometimes he does.
Hello.
Sometimes I do. I mean, it's just a collaboration. But finding this guy, and I'm gonna all bullshit aside here. This is not a.
Hello.
Sean is the. You got me. I'm trying to put you over, and you're fucking me up, man. But anyway, he comes in, and this guy, he's very humble. Sean, opposite sides of the coin here: shy, humble, everything I'm not. But he comes in. This guy, when you talk about Eddie Van Halen, Randy Rhoads, the greats, this motherfucker here is the king of the sixth string, man. He walked in and auditioned, and my fucking jaw dropped. I was like, where have you been, sweet baby Yoda? Jesus Christ, And this guy he makes me feel like I have dicks for fingers. Like he'll only let me play guitar on like 3 songs. That's it. That's it. Then he's like, okay, put that shit down and go set some shit on fire and jump off an amplifier, or, something like that,
Oh man.
So is my mic on now?
Oh
Yeah,
yes.
Oh, there you go.
There I am.
You're not the silent Sean. Speak it.
I can talk. Yeah.
He has a voice.
You have a voice. Do you sing too, Sean?
Yeah, I do. I'll sing some harmonies with Brody, and then on some other songs, I'll probably sing lead at some point.
He's being very modest, man. This guy plays piano, guitar, bass, fucking, the triangle, cowbell. I mean, this guy is a phenomenal musician, man. And the fact that he decided to hitch his wagon to my psychotic ass is beyond me, I think it's just morbid curiosity. He just wants to watch me self-implode and fucking, commit suicide or something, I think.
It's reality TV in real time.
It is.
Oh my! He can have a show all by himself, a talk show.
And I often do, many times.
If you don't get banned on Facebook.
Yeah, that's right.
Dude, I stay in Facebook. I say defund Facebook police. Defund them.
Amen.
I do sometimes just to piss them off. Like I'll just put Donald Trump is still your president. Facebook checkers have found out that like I drive them crazy, man. I just load that shit, like
you just got that checked. Your post goes against community standards.
I go commit against community standards. They do not like free thinkers. They do not like people who don't drink the Kool-Aid. They don't love true American patriots. They don't love fucking rock and rollers. And they definitely don't love Brody fucking Manson.
Well, the world loves Brody fucking Manson.
And I love the world, man. Like I said, I am an all-American boy. Grew up in Louisiana, New Orleans, man, down in the swamps of Louisiana. And I am, God's, guns, glory, and hot chicks, man. That's what it's all about.
America.
America, motherfucker.
Oh, my God. So you guys have not played anywhere.
We've played with each other. I mean, that came out wrong. I mean,
in this room, we've done quite a bit.
In this room, we've done more than you can imagine. No, we are.
I wear dresses. I knew it.
We started off and we were going to have a band, and we went through several drummers and bass players, and I fired them all because they were cocksuckers. They didn't want to step up and take responsibility and work your ass off. My work ethic is second to none. I didn't become a professional wrestler and be successful because I sat on my ass and slapped my leg and fucking walk around doing dumb shit. I busted my fucking ass. And I look for guys that bust their ass too. And we had bass players and drummers, and I kept firing them and saying, fuck this guy, fuck this guy. And a friend of mine who's a producer named Brendan O'Brien, who's produced everybody from the Black Crowes, the Rolling Stones, or whatever, said, why the fuck are you even fucking around with trying to find a live band until you play out? He said, you and this guy you got, Sean Z, is an amazing musician. Record the shit yourself, put together a digital packet, shop that shit, and then at that point, if a record company signs you, you can say, I want a bass player who is 6'2", long black hair, 6 tattoos, and they'll be like, okay, here's 200 of these motherfuckers. Pick one, So we did it all ourselves. We're keeping all the fucking money. Fuck them.
This is Brody's 401k.
Oh, fuck. Hey, it works.
Look,
Wrestling does not have a health plan. Professional wrestling does not have a health plan.
I'm a drummer. I'm a drum girl. So do you either one of you play any drums?
He can play better than I can. Now, he's a great piano player, guitar player, bass player. Drums, we're both about we can play like an AC/DC song between us, but if you play drums, there could be a little offer in there. Wink,
I
wink.
have the long hair. I think I would fit in.
You would fucking fit in. If you lived in Atlanta, Georgia, you would be our fucking drummer. There's no fucking second guessing that shit at all.
Plan B now.
Right?
Brody might not even fire you.
I would never fire you, Racheal. Never, 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 never. I fired everyone we've had. I'd be the first one we didn't fire, but
Oh my God, you
You're
guys.
good enough. You could stay. It's okay.
So which song are you going to play first?
We're going to start off with the anthem Southern Justice, which I said is just about raising your fist, man, rock and roll, not taking shit, standing up for what you believe in, being a true American patriot. And just like Southern Justice to me, man, is okay, if you do something fucked up, like molest a child or hurt an elderly person, down in Louisiana, we got a lot of fucking swampland. And you can't dive for bodies or drag the river because of the gators. Okay, so at that point, Louisiana has the highest missing persons per capita in the world, because if you fuck up down there, you're taking a concrete shoe dive into the local swamp and nobody's going to give a fuck, So Southern Justice is all about standing up. You try to take my guns, I'm going to fuck you up. You try to hurt my family, I'm gonna fuck you up. You know, don't start none, won't be none. Don't tread on me is basically the overall mojo of this song, if you will.
Don't play with the Southern boys.
Yeah, you turn my mic up.
There we go.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
All right, we're about to hear this song. I'm so excited. You might see me dance, so don't trip, okay? Get up and dance. Let's dance. Shake your booty.
Yeah, a little bit louder. All right. Yeah. Am I clipping? Yeah. Am I clipping? I'm clipping. Where's up? Check 1. Check. Let's do this.
Let's do it.
When you so down and the sun on sharing yourself on New Orleans, I kicked in the ball and scratched in the ball for everything I believe. Down in the gutters, where always thought I lied. And it's a rainy day now, pretty hard full of that southern pride, yeah. Oh, southern justice, yeah. To be southern. Pour it out, and make it truth not pour it too. That's how we're always living life. That mama like straight 100 proof. Boy, you want to step to me? I said, son, you better think twice. I'm a shotgun slinging, full driving motherfucker. A country boy dance a vibe, yeah. I'm saying just be something. Coming on, yeah, if you're coming on so strong, it's like a power on this guy. Baby, you come calling, saying you want to try. All thing I got to say to you is one thing you had, yeah. I'm saying just why? Because I'm Brody fucking Manson, that's why.
That was awesome.
That was sick.
That was awesome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Brody, all the ladies are saying you're pretty good with those fingers.
I am young, hung, and skilled with my tongue. And my wife right now is going, I'm going to kill that motherfucker when he gets his sorry ass home.
That's great.
I got to ask you all one question. What the fuck is that on your ceiling?
We got to know. Is that a spider? Is that a giant spider?
Giant spider.
That was freaking me out. I'm like, oh shit, it's gonna like jump off.
I'm like, I'm not moving to Georgia with that shit down there.
They're actually in Australia. That's an Australian spider right there.
There's no telling with Sean Z, man. He's on a whole nother fucking Frank Zappa level. I can't even, you know.
Oh my god! So who came up with the band name?
I'll go ahead and take credit for that. I came in and Sean goes, so what's the name of this band? I'm like, Shotgun Savior. He's like, That works. So that was pretty much it, you know.
Kind of guy. Right?
Sean's great, man. He's real. We have the greatest working musical relationship because Sean is a very technical, musical genius level kind of fucking guy. He's very humble. He'll never put himself over. But Sean is incredibly fucking gifted when it comes to reading music, writing music, understanding music theory. I play from the cock. That's, I don't read music. I don't write music. I know where to put my fingers to make it feel good, So we work out really well because he teaches me structure and book learning music and all that. And I make him think outside the box. We've got a song called Voodoo Man. And he at first was like, this does not work. These are two different songs. They don't go together. And then he played it more and more and more and went, fuck. He said, he's going to cut me out. Well, just ow. He kills my mic every fucking time. Kills my mic. But anyway.
That's a great part.
Basically, we came back and I said, here's a song. And he's like, he said this, and I'll never forget it. And this was the funny part. He said, you are Rain Man level genius. And I'm like, so I'm fucking retarded but smart? Thanks, Sean. Thanks, buddy.
Basically, that's what you mean.
Now I got to ask, how long did it take you to learn how to play guitar? Okay, guitar.
I started when I was 7. My grandmother brought me an old Stella Harmony acoustic where the strings were like 3 inches off the fucking neck. And I played along to Kiss albums. Kiss Alive 2 was my first record ever. And I was about, like 6, 7. And I thought they were superheroes with guitars, man. I mean, Kiss, old school Kiss is my shit, And Sean loves them too. And that's where I started playing. When did you start playing the git fiddle there, Sean? Forgot his mic. See how he is?
My microphone. I was about 12, 13 years old, self-taught.
You soft? I mean, you self-taught.
He's soft-taught.
You're soft. Sorry, guys.
I soft-tossed the guitar.
He soft-tossed it. Hold on, I gotta show. I put him on the spot. Turn that bitch up and rip a solo real quick. You gotta hear this fucking guy.
Okay. Let's see what you got.
See, I put him on the spot. He fucks it. The king of the 6th string, Mr. Sean Z.
That's face melting.
Don't let that man go.
Face melting.
Hold on.
I hear that shit and I go, like, I have dicks for fingers. I can't even play. What the fuck?
But it works. It works.
That's going to make every lady in the house like, hey, what are you doing after the show?
That's like, he does all that shit and I'm just over here like, that's all I can do,
It works. It works well.
That's awesome. You guys bounce off of each other pretty good. That's pretty awesome.
And
It is honest to God.
We
man.
have a really good time.
We have a great time, and honestly, years ago when I was in hair bands, like I said, it was just a never-ending cycle of bullshit and guys with drug problems and stripper girlfriend problems and all this shit. And you go away from it for a minute. I was so blessed to have a great career in professional wrestling for 25 years and still going strong. As strong as I can with this bullshit flu going on. But anyway, so, I met Sean and he's from the same background. We both love Ozzy and Crew and, all these bands. And when he came into audition that day, I had a drummer and a bass player. Bass player was phenomenal. Drummer was a meth head, so that didn't work out. I fired him. But anyway, Sean came in and just started ripping this shit. He's like the nicest guy, man. He's like the most quiet. And I'm like, with my big fucking mouth, I gotta have somebody like that, man. Two alpha male personalities in this band will not fucking work. No.
I'm gonna ask you a question, Brody. And actually, this question is for both of you guys. We have a poll question, and I just want to know your thoughts since. Brody, you were in wrestling. You've been in wrestling, pro wrestling for a long time.
Long fucking time.
The poll question is, and I don't know if they drug test you guys the same way they do UFC, but the poll question tonight is, now that UFC Anti-doping won't test for marijuana, should fighters' no contest fights be overturned?
Okay, the thing is, and I am a firm believer and supporter of legalization of marijuana, okay? It says, if you want to go back to ancient, old school in the Bible, take every plant and fruit and use it and all that. I mean, I can't quote scripture, but, it's basically saying, pot, dude, it's got so many medical purposes that are positive. It's got so many. I worked for years before I got my contract as a wrestler in and a bouncer. Never in all those years have I ever met a violent pothead. Not one fucking time, not ever. I have met many violent drunks. And that's the fucked up part. Like, you can go and buy as much liquor as you want and drink yourself into a fucking coma, but God forbid you smoke a fucking joint. It's bullshit. I think it should be legal everywhere. What's the difference in melatonin and weed, man? I mean, and here's where I show you that I'm actually not just a big old hunk of meat. I've actually got some brains up here in this fucking, bear trap. Many years ago, weed was made illegal because a politician back in the George Jefferson, see how fucked up I am. The George Washington days decided he owned paper mills. He owned 3 large paper mills, and they were trying to make hemp legal because for parchment, for rope, for all these different things. And because it would have put his paper mills out of business, he decided to lobby to have it made illegal. And you can Google that shit. I mean, and that's why weed has been illegal all these years, because some corrupt cocksucker fucking Democrat politician decided that it would ruin his business, and he had it outlawed. And that's where it's been ever since in most states. And it's just, once again, Ronald Reagan said the smartest thing I've ever heard. The most feared words you will ever hear is, "Hi, I'm from the government and I'm here to help you."
Yes. Yes. I actually really liked Ronald Reagan. There need to be more of those guys.
I mean, his wife was a raging bitch, but I liked him, I mean, the thing is, man, here's the thing, man. I mean, I'm for look, this is just my point of view, my 2 cents worth in the big grand scheme of things. Legalize fucking everything and let the weak weed themselves out. I mean, that's just what it comes down to. I could go buy a fucking bottle of Tylenol PMs at Walmart, eat that whole bottle and fucking croak. But yet you want to fucking bitch at me if I want to fucking smoke a joint or somebody wants to do a line or whatever. I'm not saying, my personal choices are my personal choices, but legalize it all, man. There's where's a state that they legalized everything? It's like one state and they've said, fuck it. And they legalized everything. And they're still going strong, man. I mean, let the weed themselves out. The government's not here to protect you from yourself. They're here to make money off incarcerations, drug charges, lawyer fees, DUI classes, all that bullshit, I mean, I'm just like, look, man, legalize it. If you OD on heroin, then you're a stupid motherfucker, That shouldn't affect my ability to smoke a fucking joint if I want to,
Good point.
So Greg said he disagrees to the polls, so he kind of
fuck him.
No, he disagrees. He said you can't live in the past, just speak up and move forward. So I do agree with that statement about not overturning fights from the past, but moving forward, it's going to be a whole lot better.
Here's the thing. If we're going to have 4 years of fucking Biden, we're going to need to get stoned, man. That's just fucking the way it is,
Oh, yeah.
If I got 4 years of this brain dead fucking muppet, then I'm going to need some strong fucking weed, man. Straight up.
Democrats are going to kill him out before he makes it all 4 years anyway.
We're not talking about politics right now. We're talking.
Sorry.
Yeah, we're talking about.
Do it, man.
You did it. We could go and rant about that all day. We just got to be careful.
Okay, anything that I'm saying does not reflect the opinions of Racheal's podcast. I'm a free-thinking individual, and her opinions do not necessarily reflect those of mine. There's your disclaimer.
There's a
disclaimer.
There is a disclaimer at the bottom of the show. So
if I'm gonna be on there, they fucking better be.
I think some of your guys are on here. I'm not sure.
Hi guys.
Big Play Stay. Do you know who that is?
Who?
I don't know.
Big
Play Stay. Well, whoever you are, hello.
What's up?
Hello.
We
He
want to
knows
say.
you.
He's like, hey, boys.
What's happening? What's
Do
happening?
you ask them if they're going?
When
Are you
are
gonna?
you putting out the CD? We want to know so I can be the first one to get it. No.
Oh, God bless you. Please buy our music. Yes, we're going to be putting out the CD right now. We're like I said, this is our kind of debut kickoff. This is the first anybody has even seen of this band or anything about it is on your show. We wanted to be an exclusive, and we fucking love your show. And we thought, what better way to fucking crack the champagne bottle on the ship? Immediately following your podcast, we're going to be launching the. God, I hate to say it. Facebook. Fan page for our band, Shotgun Savior, and from there there'll be details. We're in the final mix down right now. The CD, we've got 13 songs, 12 songs. I'll add another one by tomorrow. We have 12 and a half songs, and we're gonna, we're basically at the point now is just mixing it down, getting the EQs level, the finishing touches. After that, if you go to the Shotgun Savior site on Facebook, you'll be able to find details on when it'll be available for streaming, downloading, all that fun, funky stuff.
Wait. How did that go again? Can you say that again?
I'm gonna have a shot before I do because I don't remember what the fuck I just said. I was talking about yes, a Facebook. Yes, it's a Facebook. Anyway, yeah. Unfortunately, that's it does reach a lot of people and it's easy to access. So, Shotgun Savior on Facebook fan page will be launched immediately following your podcast.
There are a lot of other developing sites. I'll touch base with you on some of those.
Yeah, and we're going to get, we're just, we're trying to knock them down one by one, man. There's so much out there. There's so many different sites. There's so many different forms of, social media. We're going to be hitting them all. That'll be the first one just because it was the easiest and it reaches a lot of people. So
we need
that'll
a
be the first
marketing
one.
manager is what we need.
What'd you say,
Rachel?
Steve?
Right
You
there.
said we need a marketing manager, Racheal.
That's me. I'm the marketing promotion queen.
And I know, and that's why I'm like, yeah.
As long as I get a signed autograph copy of the
Man,
CD.
I'll send you some 8x10s, man, in my Speedos, anything you want, man. You got it.
I don't want that much. I just want to sign autograph copy on the CD. I'm not going to go that far.
I'm going to make sure I use your Speedo picture for our backdrop. What do you think?
Hey, as long as that's great, man. I got the cowboy hat on. I'm rocking the spurs and the boots. I got the tiger skin spandex, man hammock. I'm ready to go.
Spider.
And the big ass spider, too.
And a big ass spider.
But wait, I got a question. Wait, what are those things like guys wear in like their leather pants, but their ass like hangs out?
Ashless chaps.
Assless chaps.
Now you got to wear those.
You knew that like right away.
I knew that right away because I have a pair of those with extra long fringe, so I look like Bon Jovi when I shake my ass.
Awesome. I don't even. Okay, so I gotta ask, what is the purpose of ashless pants? I don't know. Like
honestly, the real thing is chaps help when you're riding a motorcycle. It's kind of like riding a horse. That's why cowboys used to wear chaps. It helps you from getting your legs chafed on the inside when you're riding for long distances. The village people took it to another area. So this is
village people. I know, right? Oh my gosh, the village people. I could sing too.
Can you?
Oh, a little bit. We'll do that on. Steve.
In the shower when no one's
Yeah, in the shower. I sound amazing. Okay, I can't sing. Anyway.
Audition will be held.
You're fired. No, I'm just kidding.
Gotta fire everybody but him. He's the fucking only one left.
So I gotta tell you a funny story. Okay, so speaking of asses, I was upstairs talking to Steve, who is actually producing the show tonight.
All right.
And I was talking to him and his girlfriend, and we were talking about the topic of the gym where my coach is Jim. He said he was talking about how women bleach their ass cracks or holes. And I was like, what? I thought that was not a thing. Like, I know we do the Brazilian thing, but bleaching the asshole. So I was talking about that with Steve pretty loudly. Well, unfortunately, my daughter, who's like 17, was downstairs on Zoom. Yeah. He was on a Zoom with her teacher.
Wow.
I mean, I had the door closed and everything. She comes running upstairs. She's like, Mom.
I'm talking about bleaching.
Oh my God.
Teacher heard everything you said.
Yeah, I can't really give an opinion on the bleaching. I am a firm believer in ordinary, because I have no body hair past my beard. I mean, most wrestlers shave their body, most fighters shave their body. It shows off your muscle definition better, and all that good stuff. Plus, if you're there fighting or wrestling with someone, you don't want some guy's nasty body hair all over your face. You're already locked in with holes and stuff. So, I mean, I veet, honestly. Do not leave that shit on past 3.5 minutes, or you will regret it. Do not leave it on. When it says 3.5 minutes, you better time that shit. Otherwise, you got chemical burn on your fucking nuts, man. It's rough,
I don't even understand the
Nair was
purpose.
just as bad.
Oh, Nair is bad. You talking about?
I use Veet. It has lanolin, and I use it makes my testicles spring fresh.
Okay, so Destin had a question last time you were on the show. He's like, how does he do his beard? Like, how does he get it that way?
Oh yeah, I was very curious. There's no way that
I wish I could come up with some cool ass story or something. I mean, it's just here's the thing. I always grew in white when I was like in my late 20s, early 30s. I was like, I don't look like a fucking old man. Fuck that. And I'd dye it out and dye it black. And one day I was just changing facial hair patterns, and it's kind of my hobby. And I was just changing shit up, and I was letting it grow in. I hadn't dyed it yet, and it came in this white color. And everybody was like, "Dude, that is so fucking badass. That is so cool. That is so cool." I was like, "Well, fuck just for men, then. I'll just go ahead and let it grow in." So
okay.
That's the mystery. The mystery.
Our other special guest is on. I'm not sure. Steve, is he available yet? Steve? Steve? Hello? I think I'm producing the show by myself.
Brody fired Steve.
I fired him.
Steve, are you there now? You can talk, but you're silently not moving your lips somehow. Are you there? Okay, so my next guest, Brody, I would really like for you guys to stick around because I think you guys will have a lot in common with Pat.
Yeah, he's not here yet.
He's not here yet? Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay. See how it is?
Yeah. So what I was...
You still got, I think, what? He's supposed not another
We still got
15
another
minutes.
song. So if
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You guys still got like 15 minutes or so.
Oh, okay.
You want us to do the other song?
Yeah, of course.
Have at it. Have fun.
Well, then, holy shit. Here we go.
just for one, I want all of them.
We want them all. We want all 12 songs tonight. No, I'm
This
just
is
kidding.
a cover to the Fleetwood Mac.
This is the cover to the Fleetwood Mac.
Yes, this is Rhiannon by Fleetwood Mac. And like I said, please drink heavily, do many, many hallucinogenics because we will sound so much better. First time ever, we're going to butcher the fuck out of Rhiannon right here live.
That's awesome.
Sorry, Stevie. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Here we go.
Rhiannon rings like a bell through the night. Wouldn't you love to love her? Takes to the sky like a bat in flight. Who will be her lover? All your life you've never seen a woman taken by the whale. Would you stay if she promised you ever? Would you ever win? Would you ever win? She could carry and all day to the sky like a bat in flight. when the sky is tallest. Real life you've never seen a woman taken by the wind. Would you stay if she promised you ever? Would you ever win? Would you ever win? Rhiannon rings like a bell through the night. And wouldn't you love to love her? Takes to the sky like a bat in flight. And who will be her lover? All your life you've never seen a woman taken by the wind. Would you stay if she promised you ever? Would you ever win? Would you ever win? Taken by the sky. Taken by the sky. Taken by the sky. Mr. Sean C. on lead guitar. Dreams unwind, love's a state of mind. Dreams unwind, love's a state of mind. Dreams unwind, love's a state of mind.
Beautiful.
That was
Wow.
nice.
The softer, more gentler side of Brody Manson.
Wow. I had like little goosebumps all up and down.
Oh shit, man! Thanks, Rach. That means a lot coming from you. Wow, it just we went through this song. I shit you not. This song has been a gothic industrial song. It's been a bluegrass song. We have tried for a year to fucking nail this song and do it justice. And because I'm such a Fleetwood Mac fanatic, and Lindsey Buckingham is one of the most underrated fucking guitar players in the history of rock and roll. They are one of the greatest bands ever. And I couldn't go out here and fuck that up. I was like, I can't butcher that. I can't fuck that up, So after a year, Sean's like, why don't you just fucking relax and sing it? Okay. And then that's what happened. Here it is.
Or have another shot. No.
That's actually what did it. We had about a fifth of this fancy booze here. I don't even know what it's called, but it's like $85 fucking a bottle. And I got this for New Year's Eve. I went into the liquor store, and there's this little Asian guy working there, and he spoke English. And I walked up and said, hey, man, I'm a Jack Daniels guy, Crown Royal guy, a Proper 12, Conor McGregor kind of guy. I said, but I want something really nice. Me and my guitar player celebrating our first year, our first year together. It's special. And, I said, but I want some really good hooch, And he looks up at me and says, you are the most intimidating man I have ever seen in my life. And I'm like, why can't I be the guy with the pretty smile and the kind eyes? Why do I got to be the big scary guy? So anyway, he's like, he recommends this stuff, and it's how do you say it, Sean? I can't say it. Dalmore? Yeah, Dalmore. It's got a deer head on the cover, and I'm a big old redneck, so I was like, well, there you go. And I was like, is this shit good, man? It's like $85 is a lot for a bottle of booze. And he said, man, there's no way I lie to you. I don't want to fucking die. Sure enough, man. This is the shit right here. So if you got $85, and Dalmore is the shit. Big old deer head on the cover. The more you drink, the better we sound.
Hey guys, Pat's available. So I wanted to
Right on.
I'm super excited. Will you guys stay on for a little bit? Maybe at the end, like we'll do like a little tune, like a little.
We would love to. Absolutely.
Okay. So I want to welcome Pat Militage. He is fantastic, one of the best in the business. He is a UFC legend, Hall of Famer, broadcaster, patriot of this country he loves so much. I want to welcome Pat Militage on the show.
How you guys doing?
Hi, Pat. How are you? You're getting a standing ovation from some other patriots.
Sorry, my dogs are losing their mind. Hey, no.
That's okay.
Sorry about that.
I have 3 dogs myself, so I'm quite familiar with the sound.
I have 7 cats. 7 cats.
Oh, I am so not a cat person.
That's a lot of pussy.
I am a crazy guy. My wife loves cats. We have 7 of them, all rescues. And you want to talk about Brody getting the pussy? Yeah, baby.
So, Pat, I wanted to tell you this is Brody Manson. He's a professional wrestler. Who is your uncle again? Say it again.
Stone. Well, I got an uncle named Stone Cold Steve Austin, and that's the bottom line, because my Uncle Steve said so.
Oh, man, that's awesome. I was lucky enough to be on Steve's podcast a few years ago when I was out in L.A., man. He's an awesome dude.
He is definitely, and that's what I tell people. They go, what is he really like? I'm like, what you see. What you see is really him. I mean, he turns the volume up on his personality for TV a little bit, but he's really just a good old boy from Texas that loves to hunt and drink beer. That's really Steve.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty cool that you're his nephew. That's pretty badass, man.
Well, my dad is also, my dad's Rod Price, second generation professional wrestler, and my whole family is just chock full of wrestlers. And what's funny is I know your career in MMA and what you've done, and dude, you're a freaking legend. I'm just honored to be fucking talking to you, man. Holy shit. I'm fanboying out over here, man. Shit, But, I started off in MMA and got recruited into professional wrestling, which is kind of weird, but whatever works.
Pro wrestling's tougher, man.
Dude, people don't understand. Like, you fight and you train for a fight and you fight, and it may be a year or two before you have another one. Wrestling, you're out there 4 nights a week. I had the privilege of meeting Randy Couture, and he said, "Dude, I got nothing but respect for you crazy fuckers. Holy shit,
You guys. I mean, that's pounding on the body. That that's the thing. Is, I mean, Jeremy Horn was one of the few guys. He would fight before modern day MMA came about. I mean, he would fight on a Friday night in Nebraska and then fight on a Saturday night in Minnesota. And he'd do that all for years. He did that.
That guy's a badass, dude. He makes me look like a Girl Scout. Jesus Christ,
He is very, very tough, but you'd be surprised when he trained with me early on. He would come to the gym with a 2-liter of Mountain Dew and he would drink that for 2 rounds. And I was like, "What are you doing, man? What are you doing?"
Whatever works, man.
Hey, Pat, can you do me a little favor? Introduce yourself a little bit, your history, because A2D Radio is not familiarized with who you are. So we want to get you out there.
How could you not know who the fuck he is? Holy shit.
I know. The legend of all legends.
I said, this guy's a fucking legend, man. Are you shitting me?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up here in Bettendorf, Iowa, born and raised, and obviously Iowa, the hotbed of wrestling, and we were one of the top cities in the state of Iowa for wrestling, and you just did it. I mean, the guys that were bad wrestlers in Iowa and certainly Bettendorf were the ones that went out for basketball. You know what I mean? So I was raised in wrestling rooms. I was 5 years old. I got beat up by the middle school wrestling coach's son. And I said, I think I better learn how to wrestle so that doesn't happen anymore. And so I started wrestling 5 years old. I didn't win a match for like 3 years. Didn't win a tournament until I was in 8th grade. And then started slowly getting better and better. But actually, football was my favorite sport. All my brothers were 6'5", big guys. And I figured, I'm going to get big too. I want to play linebacker probably in the NFL, at least for the Hawkeyes, Iowa Hawkeyes. And I didn't quite keep growing. So I went to college for a little while, was wrestling in college until my mother got sick with heart problems, went home to take care of her, and started working 3 jobs. I was pouring concrete during the day and bartending and bouncing at a couple clubs at night, and decided that, it was by accident, actually. I guess there is really no accidents. Everything happens for a reason. But one of my bosses with the concrete company said he was a black belt in karate, and he was originally from Kentucky, kind of had a twang to his talk. He goes, "Hey, Pat," he goes, "Man, a karate man beat up a wrestler any day." And I go, and this is long before the UFC. And I go, "I don't think you've dealt with an Iowa wrestler before, bud." And he goes, "Well, lunchtime, let's go out there in the field and let's find out." And I go, "Yeah, as long as I don't get fired for it." He goes, No problem." So I double legged him real quick and slapped him around a little bit and let him up, and then took him down again, and he couldn't do anything to me. So he gave me a free week lesson to a kickboxing karate gym. So I went there, was learning how to do high blocks and low blocks, and I'm like, man, I boxed when I was younger and wrestled and played football. This is not my speed at all. But then on Friday in that gym, they had black belt sparring class, and these guys were getting after it. They were beating the shit out of each other. And so I said, all right, this is for me. So I signed up there, got pretty good at kickboxing and Muay Thai, and got a black belt in karate, all that good stuff, and was doing a little bit of judo and stuff. And then all of a sudden, the UFC came along, and I went, holy shit, they just actually created my sport. So I started focusing on submission grappling and everything to kind of round out my game, and kind of that's where it started. But I was lucky to. Well, we got 95 kids put into televised careers. I think 12 world champions. Retired from coaching just because I was so busy doing TV, and I climbed that mountain, so to speak, right? And I've spent a lot of years training law enforcement and military as well. That's some of the most that and teaching kids are my favorite activities, to be honest with you.
Hey, Pat.
Obviously, yeah.
I am so excited to have you in the show. I just wanted to tell you that. But let's find out a little bit. How many fights did you have in the UFC?
I don't even know. Like 10, 12, something like that. I was 8-0 at one time before injury started catching up to me and stuff, and I kind of started falling apart a little bit. But yeah, I held the title for about, I don't know, 3.5 years, something like that. So then obviously Matt Hughes beat Carlos Newton, took the title back to our gym, and then Robbie Lawler had it for a while. So 3 guys from my gym, 2 guys that I trained. Also won that welterweight title, and so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, Matt Hughes is no joke, man. Matt Hughes is a bad boy.
Yeah, I couldn't believe how strong he was. I mean, the time back then, I was, fighting at 170, probably weighing 190. I could bench 370, probably 375, and I was dunking a basketball at the time. I was only 5'10", and running about a 16.5 minute 5K. It's about 5.5 minute miles. And so I was in incredible shape. And when I wrestled with Matt the first time, we did takedowns to submission grappling. And I'd never felt anybody that strong, really, besides Steve Rusk, but anybody my size to be that powerful. I really couldn't believe how powerful he was. It was ridiculous.
I heard Forrest Griffin one time say, I've had the pleasure of knowing Forrest, and he's a Georgia boy. Yeah. So, I had the pleasure. He said, Matt Hughes, he's like, this is Forrest's words. He said, Matt Hughes is that country boy working on that truck out in his front yard that will climb out underneath that sumbitch and whip your ass.
Yeah, he had, that farm strength was real. I mean, it really was.
It was. Jesus.
His twin brother was really just as strong, but a little meaner actually. But he just his wife, I don't think, wanted him fighting very much, so he didn't fight for very long.
I always wanted to see Hughes versus Lesnar. That was like one of my dream, because I know Brock in the wrestling world,
I saw Hughes versus Lesnar in my gym because Lesnar came and trained with us for a while, and Hughes submitted him.
Hughes submitted Lesnar, or Lesnar submitted Hughes?
No, Hughes submitted Lesnar, took his back and choked him.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I had a guy come up to me that I hadn't seen in years before, for a long time. And there was one of the Nigerian, the giant Nigerian wrestlers.
Yes.
So they brought the Nigerian champion into my gym. And the guy called ahead of time and he said, "This guy is a specimen, dude. You got to see him. And I think you might want to train him." And I was like, "Yeah, man, bring him in." And so they brought him in, and dude, you talk about a physical specimen. I mean, this guy was like 6'7", probably 320, and shredded, absolutely shredded. And I saw him and I went, "My God, look at this guy." And Hughes comes up to me and goes, "Let me go with him first." And I go, all right, dude. I go, "I just don't want you getting hurt. This guy's massive." And he's like, "No, I want to go with him." So Hughes ragdolled this guy. He took him down numerous times and shook our hands. And the guy, you could tell the guy from Nigeria was absolutely in shock. He had no idea what just hit him. And so I hadn't talked to that guy that brought him in since then. And the guy comes up to me and he goes, "Do you remember me? I'm the guy that brought that Nigerian kid into your gym." And I go, "Yeah." I go, "How come he never came back?" And he goes, "Dude, he was so scared after having a 170-pound fighter destroy him that he was like, I absolutely want no part of this." I want no part of this.
Shit.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
Matt Hughes, he's a phenomenon, dude. There's not many like him. You got guys like, I work with Brock in the wrestling, and Brock is a specimen, man. That guy's freakishly strong, Yeah. But Matt is just a whole nother animal, dude. He's just one of those guys you can't put him in a category, man, because he's just freakishly strong. He's freakishly agile. He's freakishly fucking fantastic,
Yeah, he is. I mean, the only guys in the country that could beat him in wrestling were guys like Joe Williams.
Yeah.
Hughes would lose by 1 point to Joe Williams, and Joe Williams, 4-time NCAA champ and Olympic gold medalist, out of the University of Iowa. So, but those are the only guys that could beat him.
Yeah, he was always one of my favorites, man. Great guy. I mean, I've met him a couple of times, and he was just so polite and nice, and so cool. And we talked about wrestling.
Yeah, what? Everybody's polite and nice to you. Look at the size of you, dude.
Well, this was funny, man, because like it's weird, man, because I've met a lot of fighters in the wrestling industry. You know, we go hand in hand. You know, and we all go to each other's shows and all that. And I'm 6'4", 325. You know, and I'm I ain't gonna say I'm shredded, man. But I'm pretty fucking solid. I got a 500-pound bench press. You know.
Yeah, that's a tad bit of weight. That's a tad bit of weight.
It's weird, man, because it's like in wrestling, all they ever told you was get bigger, get bigger, get bigger. In my day, now it's you can be a gymnast and weigh 125 pounds and do backflips and slap your leg and whatever, but it's not the same sport it used to be. You know, when I was, they were like, "How much do you weigh?" I'm like 250. Like, we need you at 300. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Hey, Pat, we got a question from the audience for you.
What's that?
We have a question from the audience for you.
Okay.
Can you read it, Dustin?
The most to you?
What's that?
So, all right, I gotta get up closer. All right, 3 world titles, Robbie Matt and Tim Watt. What moment is the most to you? Meant the most to you.
What's the biggest memory of fighting?
It says Robbie,
titles.
Matt,
Three
and
titles.
Tim. So those three titles, 3 world titles, Robbie, Matt, and Tim. What one meant the most to you?
Well, I would say this. Jens Pulver was my first UFC champion, and they all have unique stories. I don't think any of them should, to me, mean more. Besides the fact that I was just along for the ride to help him get there, you know what I mean? Robbie winning a world title was the longest road because Robbie early in his career didn't fight like he trained in the gym. In the gym, he was very systematic. At 17, he was beating up world champion. But he just would get in fights, get in the cage, and just go bombs, just throwing bombs. And I'd ask him, finally I asked him, I'm like, Rob, why don't you fight like you fight in the gym? Nobody'd ever touch you. And he goes, Pat, I just want to get this shit over with, man. I just want to get out of here. But Robbie finally, when he was fighting in Strikeforce at 185, he walked around at 190 maybe. So he's fighting guys that cut down from 220, 225. They're much bigger men, but none of them could destroy him or anything. None of them could manhandle him. He would lose some fights. But I told him, I said, listen to me. Just drop the 170, go back in the UFC, win a world title, make a bunch of money for your family, and take care of your family. And so he finally made that decision. And Robbie started with me when he was 16 or so. So I think by the time he won that world title and did that, that was obviously very satisfying. But all of them were amazing.
That's amazing. So I have one, our poll question for tonight, and I really wanted to know what your thoughts are on this question. Give me 1 second. I want to read it verbatim here and pull it up for you. Oh, it's on the screen. Okay. Now that UFC Anti-doping won't test for marijuana, should fighters' no contest fights be overturned? Agree or disagree?
That's an interesting question. I mean, do you grandfather clause those guys in and overturn those, or it was illegal at the time and they broke the rules? So I mean, it is what it is. I'm the kind of guy that says, look, this is. I don't know. I don't know how they control it. I don't know how they ever will in professional sports to a certain extent. People are always trying to figure out ways around the system, all that. So it's like bodybuilding, where they have all natural bodybuilding, and then they have take whatever the hell you want bodybuilding. I don't know if you have to do that for mixed martial arts. You know what I mean? I don't know. But certainly I wouldn't want guys fighting guys that were not to have an unfair advantage and somebody get hurt worse than they should have got hurt because the guy's got superhuman strength because he's doing steroids or whatever. So it's a tough question. And when people come up and there's, what do they say, nano amounts of certain steroids or this or that in people's systems, and they get passed and they're allowed to fight, and then other guys have the same thing and they're not. There's some selective stuff going on there. So I just think that it's got to be across the board for everybody.
And that's something that Andrew mentioned, our special guest, Andrew. He's getting into, you're going to re-enter the MMA world and start training. So this is Andrew Haney.
Okay.
So you were explaining that, what were you explaining in the beginning? What were your words about this subject?
Oh, I just feel like if people want to do certain things, I do agree. I feel like we should move forward. I mean, going back, what's it going to do now? Nobody's going to get the belt from it now. I mean, where it's kind of in the past. But yeah, if someone wants to do it, if someone wants to be high in the ring or something, then I see it as an advantage for the other person, possibly, but
Yeah.
I feel like
There's no way I would want to fight fucking stoned ever. Period. Never.
into the ring smoking. So
unless you're Nate Diaz, then you just beat the fuck out of people. I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah,
Well, it's weird. It's like Joe Rogan can smoke and he still speaks eloquently, has a perfect memory, all that sort of stuff.
It's amazing how much Joe can smoke. Jesus Christ. He's like the UFC, man.
It just affects people differently, right? Everybody, I guess, just molecular DNA and all that sort of stuff, how people are made up, how it affects everybody differently. I certainly have no desire to get high and do anything. I understand a lot of people use it for medicinal purposes and everything else. And hey, it's been used as medicine for thousands and thousands of years before pharmaceuticals came along. So obviously, it helps a lot of people, right?
Yeah, it seems like only the Diaz brothers could pull that off. I don't know how they.
Those guys are just freaks of nature, man. All of them, they're just nuts, man. And then he came out and beat McGregor and was like, "We beat speed." I was like, "Holy shit!"
But I've taken a shot before a fight to, calm nerves. So I know people have different, things to maybe go into the cage feeling, not that the stress or that, the crowd's getting crazy, your face is on posters. So I don't think that you should be walking to the cage with a joint or a drink. But, like you said, certain people have certain things and you should be smart, know yourself. And like you said, you have no desire. So before your fights and before you came champ, I bet you were not smoking a joint. So
no, I wasn't. I wouldn't touch anything, of course. So, I was just always training. I would fight minus any knee or shoulder or any kind of injury. I was right back in the gym on Monday training again. And, that's probably why I got, I was more prone to injury later on in my career, to be honest with you, was I never took any time off. I never took time off because I had to be back in the gym coaching and I had to be sparring with guys and wrestling with guys and doing all of that. So I just, for a decade at least, I never took a break. And certainly I paid a bit of a price for that, towards the end of my career.
I can understand that. We don't have an off season. With pro wrestling, there is no off season,
Right. Yeah. And one bad potato and you can be jacked, right?
That's it, man. And that's why I was like, I know guys that I've worked with, I'm not going to say anything that they don't put out there themselves. Rob Van Dam, amazing athlete, phenomenally talented, legitimate martial artist, high as bat shit when he walks to the ring and will pull it off flawlessly every time. Wow. There's no way, man. I would be dropping people on their head. Some people can do it, like you said. Some people, it affects them differently. RVD, I don't think he's ever wrestled not stoned and has 5-star matches. If I went out there, I would trip over my fucking shoelaces and face plant.
Hey, so I always like to ask guys, do you guys know the history of Danny Hodge?
Danny Hodge?
Yeah.
Probably not as well as you do.
Tell him.
Many years ago, I had the opportunity to meet him. I was calling fights in Oklahoma. And of course, he was three-time national Golden Glove champion and 3-time national collegiate wrestling champion as well. So he was the predecessor of the Ultimate Fighter, right? Yep. Not a big guy, probably weighed 150 pounds when I met him. And he was 83, I think, when I met him. I think he's still alive. He might have been around 80 when I met him. But anyway, I think he's probably 90 now, easy. But so he had this grip, and he still has this grip where you even huge guys like yourself won't shake hands with him if they know about him because he crushes everybody's hands, right? And so, and he's not a big guy. He has big hands, but he's not a big guy. So what he would do, he still demonstrates, he will grab an apple and crush it, just crush it with his hands, smash it. And so when he was young, after his collegiate wrestling, he got into pro wrestling. And they were doing there was a radio show going on, a live remote from a hardware store. And so Danny said, pull in there. We're not selling many tickets at the Memorial Auditorium here. So, and it was in Texas. And they pulled into the hardware store, said the new unbreakable pliers are in. And so Danny and some of the other pro wrestlers went in there, and he walked up to the radio station guys doing the live remote, and he goes, where's these unbreakable pliers at? And they go, right there. We just got 100 pair of them in. And he picks up a pair and he snaps them in half. Picks up another pair, snaps them in half in both of his hands, just snapping them. Goes through the entire box of pliers and breaks them all by squeezing them, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, what in God's name, who are you? And he goes, I'm Danny Hodge. We're wrestling at Memorial Auditorium tonight. You come on down and watch us. And they sold the place out because of it, right? So, but when guys used to potato him, he told me, those old, the old cars with the metal door handles, right?
Yeah.
He would grab those. If the guy that potatoed him, he'd go out to their car and he'd grab those handles and he'd twist them off the car doors so that they couldn't get in their car.
That's awesome, man.
He's unbelievable. And that's Danny Hodge. The Hodge Award is the Heisman Trophy that's awarded to the best wrestler in the nation every year.
Yeah, he was a badass, man, for sure. Just ahead of his time. Like a lot of the guys now in the industry, I'll say this: there's a difference between professional wrestlers and sports entertainers. Professional wrestlers are guys who are legitimate badasses. Sports entertainers are guys who pretend to be badasses.
Right. I was surprised. There was a guy who handles basically for the WWE, a friend of mine, getting guys out of trouble, basically, right? He's kind of the handler in terms of that sort of stuff. And he called me up one day and he goes, will you do a self-defense seminar for the WWE guys? And I go, what? And he goes,
I know, right?
I go, what are you talking about? And I go, these guys are pro wrestlers. And he goes, a lot of them really don't know how to fight and they get messed with a lot, right? So, they want somebody to come in and teach these guys how to defend themselves. And I was like, yeah, I mean, that was right before COVID and everything, but so that didn't happen. But I found it just a little, it was odd to me.
Well, the time has changed. Now you just have to be a gymnast and pretend to be tough and all that. When I broke into business with my family tree, you better fucking be tough. Between my dad and my uncle and everything, it's like you better fucking be tough. But back then, it wasn't like it is now. There weren't wrestling schools in every strip mall. It was a very closed family kind of thing. You had to be related to someone, or you had to have a friend in the business. It was a very closed group. You weren't just like, hey, here's my money, I'm going to be a pro wrestler. That didn't happen. Now it's turned into a business, a moneymaker. So every guy opens a wrestling school and trains these kids, and they don't know shit because the guy doesn't know shit. It's like MMA gyms, man. I've been to MMA gyms where I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? What the hell? Like what? They just open it up and make a history for themselves, which is bullshit, And these guys get in there and it's a different mentality. Back in the day when I broke in, man, respect was a big issue, both in MMA and in pro wrestling. Now guys have the mentality, well, I'm in the locker room with Steve Austin, so I'm just as big as he is. I'm just as much of a star as he is. We're in the same locker room. Go fuck yourself. No, you're not, Well, I'm at the same seminar Randy Couture's at. I'm speaking. I'm just on his level. Go fuck yourself. No, you're not. I mean, it's this big thing is lacking today. And there's something that one of my trainers told me, and it was something I've always carried with me, is respect in our business is earned. It is not given. It is very hard to earn respect, but being taught respect can be very painful.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. And yeah, that's the thing is I always told my fighters, be nice to people on the way up, because if you're not, the way down is going to suck really bad.
Have you been to Randy's gym he had in Vegas? I don't know if he still has it or not, but when you walk in the door, it says check your ego at the door in big fucking huge gold letters. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I taught years ago, I taught a seminar out there, and I had a great time. Really, a lot of very talented athletes and students out there. It's a beautiful place.
Oh, it was gorgeous. I was very fortunate to get invited, and he's one of my all-time heroes. I'm an old school guy, so Chuck Liddell, Randy Couture, those guys are my, those guys are the shit, man. And I was fortunate enough to go to his dojo and just meet him and talk to him and hang out with him. And I was like, dude, I love that. Check your ego at the door. He said, yeah, you come in here with an ego, we humble you and we send you packing pretty quick.
Yep. And that's the thing is, it's interesting. Back in the early days, when we started, I started out doing a Battle of the Masters, which was no weight division tournaments, 8-man tournaments, no weight division, no rules, all that good stuff up in South Side of Chicago. And so guys would be driving across the country and stop in at the gym and say, or call and say, hey, I'm going to be coming in town. I want to fight the toughest guys you have in your gym. And this is back in the day when, the individual arts, the karate guys, the taekwondo guys, or, the judo guy, or whoever, they had so much pride in that one art that they felt that they had to defend it by coming in and fighting people, right? And I tell you what, you talk about, we had probably 6 or 7 taekwondo guys come one time, and it was like a slaughter. It was awful. I mean, our coach, our instructor at the time, who was a really good kickboxer, really tough guy. I mean, he had to go, all right, just stop. Wow. But when somebody comes in and you're a fighter and they challenge you and you don't know them and they just walk into your house and go,
right,
I think I can kick your ass. You want to fight? Well, you're a little offended by that, right? So you're going to fight pretty hard.
Exactly.
Hey, Pat, I got a
Randy,
question.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Speaking of, I don't mean to change the subject, but I do want to ask this. The COVID, obviously, how did it affect being able to train and fighters for last year? What were some of the challenges around the COVID and the shutdowns and things like that?
Well, I mean, I retired from coaching for the most part long ago. I help kids now and then. If they ask me to come work with them a little bit, work on the footwork, the fundamentals to get them, because a lot of kids aren't taught the right fundamentals to begin with, and especially with striking, it's tedious work. They've got to be able to get to a point in footwork, and a lot of different footwork drills, and get their feet fast and moving correctly and not wasting energy and things like that before I'll really spend a whole lot of time helping them with anything else, right? Because I've watched so many fights over the years as an athlete, as a coach, and as a broadcaster, that the vast majority of people have no clue how to move their feet. So they might hit hard and stuff, but they don't know how to get themselves in position to strike effectively. They take too many shots coming in. They take too many shots going out. They don't move their head correctly. And so if you don't have fast feet and fast footwork, it's very difficult to have fast hands, and it's very difficult to have fast head movement, right? So that's the stuff that I've always focused on. But the COVID thing affected more than anything, just because I've trained law enforcement and military for so long, where there was none of that obviously. None of that was going on. So that was something that, and no broadcasting for 18 weeks as well. So COVID affected everybody, I guess, in a different way, depending on what you do for a living, right?
Right. So that's going to lead into my next question. And my next question is, walk us through everything since the 6th that led to the current events of what happened. Obviously, I saw the news and I read the article the many articles that were recently done. And Brody's a patriot. I'm a patriot. We're all patriots in this room. And I was quite angered by what I read and the treatment. So can you give us a little detail?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'll tell you about what transpired on the 6th. For us, the individuals, and so I took a lot of pictures with people that day. People who recognized me wanted pictures, things like that. Well, one of those pictures, and some of the pictures, I put up like 10 pictures on my Facebook page and Instagram, and somebody latched onto one where a guy was wearing a hat that had initials on it that people say stands for some sort of racist group, and he was making a hand gesture, an OK symbol with his hand, which everybody's saying now. I mean, I'm from the generation when, you fall down and somebody goes, "You're all right." You go, A-OK, and you give them that signal, right? So I didn't even know he was making the hand gesture. First of all, I'm looking at the phone that's taking the picture, and then when I was posting pictures, I didn't think anything of it. I don't know. People aren't walking around with those hats on in Iowa. I just did. I don't know anything about it. I do now, of course, because everybody freaked out on that one picture. So, for people to attempt to ruin a man's life over a picture that he takes with a fan. I mean, I don't do background checks on everybody. I've taken tens of thousands of pictures with people. There could have been serial killers in there, right? I don't know. I have no clue who these people are. They're just fans of the sport and they want a picture. So that was what everybody got angry about. And of course, because I'm there, there's going to be a certain percentage of Americans that are offended that how dare you go and listen to the president speak and be part of history, right? So anyway, we walked from the Washington Monument. We were in front of the crowd for the most part to get to the Capitol, and we stood at the barricades off to the left in front of the Capitol. And as the crowd grew, I think there was probably over 1 million people there. It was a massive crowd. The police officers in the front, we looked down the line of the barricades, and the police officers are opening the barricades and waving the crowd in. And then I saw footage of the other side of the Capitol where they were doing the exact same thing. So as the crowd moved up Capitol Hill, and we stayed. There was something about it where my friends and I said, nope, we're not biting on this. Nope, there's something going on. So we stayed down behind the barricades where we were at. And then as the crowd moved up the hill, all of a sudden a bunch of guys in riot gear slide in from the left and make a half moon circle in front of the stairs leading up to the Capitol. And then all of a sudden you start hearing explosions. They're getting hit with grenades. They're getting hit with tear gas. You can see the massive green clouds in the front of the crowd. And then OC spray. And it was so far up the hill from us. I mean, you can't see perfectly, but you can see generally what's going on. And you can certainly hear the explosions and see the smoke and everything. And basically it was almost like they let them in and then hit them with all those less than lethal weapons to piss them off, right? And so the crowd just basically, I think, pushed past that line of riot police and went up the stairs and then spread out around the Capitol. Well, from where we were, we can't even see the doors or anything. We can't see anything that's going on. So that's, I guess, when stuff, windows were getting broken. But the one thing is, there's a lot of footage out there of it. And Jason Burmas, my good friend who's got a huge podcast, huge following, he was on the stairs when they were trying to Antifa was trying to hand up battering rams and sledgehammers to knock in the doors and windows. Oh, wow. And the Trump people were grabbing those and pushing them back down the stairs going, no, do not do this, no. So there was certainly some infiltration of Antifa within the crowd that had gotten in there. And we were told beforehand that this was going to be the case, right? So anyway, we stayed down until everything was just, there was nothing going on. Everybody was standing around on the hill I think we stayed down on behind the barricade for a good hour and a half at least after everything had happened. And then we just kind of walked up the hill because everybody was just walking up the hill and stood around, talked to people for a while, and then we left. And I made a joke. I actually made a joke because I had no idea that anything had happened inside the Capitol. I had no clue. When we were walking back, because at about, I think it was 5 in the afternoon, 6 in the afternoon, something like that, it was starting to get a little dark, and the wind had picked up, and it was getting really cold. And everybody kind of just started moseying away from the Capitol, going back to their hotels or whatever, right? So as we're walking back, I go, well, revolution's over. It's dinner time. So that's, so that was the vast majority of those million people were just there symbolically, I think, to say, hey, man, we're tired of the corruption on both sides of the aisle. That's all there is to it. We're just sick of it. And, so for anybody out there that, thinks anything negative, you got to understand something. The media it's not our friend. And if you're fighting for something that is controlled by the media and a massive government and everything else, that's not a genuine movement, right? You're aligned with the global bankers, the media, and the oppressors. You got to kind of shake your head and knock the cobwebs out and go, wait a minute, why would they be supporting us? What purpose are we serving in all of it, right? So people have to understand that I don't like the Democrats or the Republicans. They've all become, compromised, paid off, and corrupt. I mean, the vast majority of them all are that way. So, don't think I'm some sort of hardcore psychopath right winger that wants to take all your rights from you. I want to give you every right. You should be able to do anything you want with your life as long as you're not hurting people. That's,
Amen.
I mean, I don't want government. I don't want government controlling our children's lives. That's not why government was created in this nation. Government's only supposed to serve two purposes, technically. That's trade deals with other nations and protect our borders from invasion. That's it. That's what it was intended for. And now it's grown into such a monstrosity that it must eat more to feed itself. It just continues to grow.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is they're now saying, oh no, we need to hurry up and open up our states right away. We can't lose any more money. Like, really? So now, like, all of these things that are transpiring, you were broadcasting with an organization, and I read that you lost your job because
it's right now as it sits, they are reevaluating everything. And
oh, thank God.
So here's one thing too I want people to understand is that what the cancel culture has done from my relationship with the LFA, with those guys, is I love those guys that much more. We've grown that much closer. Whether I ever work for them again or not, I will always love those guys because they were taking a beating just like I was. And I urged people not to harass them, and they got pounded. They got pounded for having me on board. Then they got pounded by the other side for basically, I guess, suspending me, whatever you want to call it. So, I urge people to just, cancel the cancel culture is what you need to do. Again, I want you to believe in whatever you want to believe in. I don't want to take your living so you can't feed your kids because of what you believe. So, people have to just, and hey, look, maybe I should have been a little bit smarter and not posted any pictures whatsoever, right? I should have had enough foresight, but I've never looked at myself like I am a big enough person to be a target for it in the first place, right?
Right.
So, but anyway,
I feel like there's always going to be whether they call them a Karen, we have a male Karen at the gym, and there's female Karens. There's always going to be a hater. No matter what.
Right. Yeah.
And it's especially worse now than it's ever been.
Yeah.
I've never seen so much hatred in our world. And I really wanted this show to bring people together and unite them to be able to help each other through this whole process, because those who are completely awake and aware of what's going on, we have to be able to help the other people kind of wake up just a little bit. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's at the end where you can't wake any more people up, or
it's a lot of like brainwashing. People are just like, oh, follow the leader. Well, this is the government, so it must be what it is. We gotta. Nobody thinks for themselves anymore. There's no independent thinking, critical thinking anymore.
I mean, I grew up with the saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. What is it that you don't like about the U.S.? Yes, we have politicians that I think are overrated, bribed, doing things they shouldn't be doing, stealing money. it's bad. It all needs to be like completely redone. That part I do agree with. I don't agree with all the hate that's going on right now. I really don't.
Well, what you're seeing is, and we told people from the very beginning, look, on my show, the podcast, The Conspiracy Farm, my co-host Jeffrey Wilson and I have been saying for our very first episode over 5 years ago, people started emailing us who were new fans who started at show number 1. This is before Donald Trump's in office, all of that stuff. And we said, in coming years, there will be, basically media-driven race hatred and all kinds of crazy stuff was going to start happening. And you could see it. Because Obama used it, right, against the police and everything else. And it was kind of the predecessor, the initial chipping away at the pillars of all things good in America, so to speak. And I can't say that all law enforcement is good. That's not the case. We understand that. But in general, those people want to do the right thing. So we were talking about that, and people were going, my God, you guys were talking about this 5 years ago. And 2 years before the COVID lockdown, we started talking about asymmetrical warfare, that weaponizing viruses. We talked about the 25 bioweapons labs that we own, run by, of course, Big Pharma and people like that, scientists, that they had perfected, and it's all documented Pentagon paperwork, that they had perfected weaponizing viruses that can attack specific DNA. And that's terrifying. And then on top of that, the scientists that worked in those laboratories, those bioweapons labs, had diplomatic immunity, which means they can ship or carry anything they want, and you can't search it. So there's a big red flag that goes up for us right there. We're in big trouble with this stuff. And we feel those documents were released to scare China and Russia. But anyway, of course, China, Russia, England, other developed nations have these bioweapons laboratories and can release these things at any time. And I try to explain to people, even those on the far left, it's very important for people to understand that. I have had to have this conversation to help even my most left-leaning friends understand something. And I say, can we agree that physical war is for nothing more than stealing resources from nations and making billions of dollars? Can we agree on that? And they will agree on that. And then I say, okay, now I'm going to help you get up to speed on some thinking. Asymmetrical warfare, why would that be any different? Why would you spend massive amounts of money to develop weaponized viruses and then not release them into society so that you make billions of dollars off of vaccines and medication? And they're like, wow, we never thought about it like that, right? And so there's a lot of people out there that simply either don't want to question because they're afraid to question, they're afraid to research, or they don't have time to research. They just accept the sound bites of, these people are bad, these people are good. This person has doctor in front of his name, so he must be telling the truth because he has doctor. And my friend, I was filming some videos of my friend who's a hypnotist and a very, very powerful speaker and life coach. He's a pretty young guy. He's 34 years old, but he's a very brilliant guy. And so I asked him to explain, the power of suggestion. When I explained that I watched an entire group of people get hypnotized and act like fools on stage at a comedy club, there's a Hell's Angel up there giving birth to a baby, right? He would never do that. He would never get on stage and act a fool. But because the power of suggestion had worked on him, and he had allowed it to work on him, that he ended up doing that. And then as years passed, I likened what the media was doing to society with what that hypnotist did to those people on that stage, right? And then Nick explained, he said, authority is a direct hack into the lizard part of the human brain. Because when people look at a TV and see a talking head who obviously is someone of authority now, telling them that they're going to die, it works like this. Get someone to feel an emotion and then make a suggestion, right? So all of a sudden, there's a picture of a bowl of soup with a big bat in it, right? A fucking bat in it. And this is the first thing they show, and then they show Chinese people falling over on sidewalks, dying, right? And then they say, COVID's here. COVID's here. We got to protect ourselves. You got to close your businesses. We're all going to fucking die. And everybody freaked out, right? And I knew instantly, the minute I saw that, I went, man, this is going to be really bad. Nobody even remotely understands where this leads to. So here we are today, getting ready to get locked down in martial law. We have no idea what's going to happen at the Capitol, but I'm pretty sure National Guard's being sent to all state capitals around the country because they think there's going to be violence and attacks at state capitals and everything else. So in my mind, they're either setting up false flag attacks to blame, white nationalists or whatever they want to do. They'll have players come in with weapons and shoot up the place or whatever. Or the Insurrection Act has been put in place. One of the two. It's either really bad or really bad. Because we're going to have military all over our country. I can tell you that firsthand account. I'm lucky to have some friends in the intelligence world, but I also have a friend several friends who are parents of Marines. And the Marines are being deployed domestically. You don't deploy Marines domestically unless you plan on kicking the shit out of them. Yeah. And the Marines, these guys are saying what their kids are telling them is that even their superiors in the Marine Corps are talking about if they're told that they have to fire on patriots, they absolutely will not do it, and they will defect in mass if they're told to do it. So that's where we're at in this country right now. And this is for real. This is not a drill. This is very, very real stuff that's happening. So nobody really knows which direction this is going to go. Nobody has a clue, but I don't have a warm, fuzzy feeling about it. Let's put it that way. So, everybody should be prepared.
Can feel something in the air, Pat. You definitely can feel something heavy is upon us.
Yeah. And so, we've been telling our listeners for quite some time, stock up on dry goods. Make sure you've got a ton of water. Water is the most important thing. Water and, honestly, ammo. I hate to say it. But people don't understand that water purification plants can't keep running with no power. They can't pump water. They can't do any of that. People don't realize that. That's like, you will die without water. So that's really important.
So, thanks for that's something I didn't know. I know we've been stocking up and people are like, you're crazy. What do you think? What's going to happen? The end of the world? I don't know what's going to happen, but I'd rather be prepared than not.
Like I said, if you go back and listen to our show, my co-host is a supremely intelligent guy, Jeff. And if people go back and listen to our show, as this whole thing was starting and even before it, where I was talking about in the spring of 2020 is when it all is going to start. And I started calling it when it was going to happen over a year before it happened, saying we're going to have financial collapse. We're going to have asymmetrical warfare. Trump puts the clamps down on China with trade. And then the kicker, what I think sent China over the edge was that Trump moved a microprocessing plant from Taiwan to Arizona, and it's like a military compound down there because that stuff is so top secret, that technology, that it just cannot get to the Chinese. And without those microprocessors, China falls behind in technology, and they can't keep up. And they are scared. They are scared. So that's why we're seeing, the asymmetrical warfare and everything else that's going on. And people have to understand that throughout history, there have been the four major groups that were the most powerful. First, it was the conquerors, then it was religious leaders, then it was the presidents, and now it's the CEOs of big tech and big pharma. These people are so powerful, but the problem is that 95% of all their stuff gets made in China. So we've got guys that are Americans who are very powerful people in the world, siding with the communist Chinese regime and willing to destroy the United States of America to keep making money.
Yeah, you can't walk into a Walmart without everything saying made in China.
Yeah.
I have noticed that over a period of time, each year, there's more and more and more and more. Everything's being made in China. We used to see made in USA all the time, and now it's like it's slim to none. You find anything made here in America.
Yeah, I'm redoing my house, this house that I bought, and we finished the upstairs, got that all done, and then on two of the walls, we're putting barn board in the living room. And the barn board we got at Lowe's, and on the box it says "Made in America," and that's what I was looking for. So I encourage people to buy as much stuff made in America as they can.
So, Pat, with all of your knowledge, I didn't know that you had. Well, I kind of know now, but I didn't know that you had the podcast. How long have you been doing that podcast for?
Over 5 years. We, and the funny thing is we got laughed at for a long time until people started realizing that we were telling the truth, right? I'm like I said, I'm lucky to have some connections with some folks in the intel world, and in all the years of just paying attention, I've followed financial ups and downs. I've followed things how they've moved and stuff. And, Jeff finally, it was about a year ago, a year and a half ago, he checked into the ratings on some of the platforms that we were on, the iTunes, the Spotify, all these different platforms. And our ratings were crushing almost all Fox News radio shows, almost all ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN, were destroying them in ratings. And I went, well, finally people were starting to pay attention. And what was funny is Jeff could do the analytics on even where people were watching, down to like the building.
Wow.
And so people in the Council on Foreign Relations, Trilateral Commission in Brussels, Belgium, there was like 17 computers on at one time in the Council on Foreign Relations building watching our show. That's scary. And that's when we started getting, I got escape kits sent to me from my friends in an agency, saying, you're over the target. Keep this on you at all times in your sock. And it's got a handcuff key. It's got a paracord with a saw on it, and then it's got a lock picking set in it. And so that's the kind of stuff that we started receiving.
That is really intense.
It's getting real, yeah.
we have to be careful on the show because of the censoring and all of those things. And I definitely don't want to, have A2 radio have any issues. But it was important to know what happened and what transpired on the 6th. And well,
it was obvious to me that there was some pre-planning. Let's put it that way.
Yes. And with all the videos coming forward, so now that's just confirmation from somebody who was already there. But do you guys have any questions for Pat?
I know you're the
guy. Topic, but since we're talking about it, my sister was a Hawkeye, so I got to go over there and watch the Williams do their thing. My father actually, when I was younger, had me read a Dan Gable book, so I know all about. I've wrestled 15 years of my life. That's definitely how I got into my MMA. So I just want definitely Hawkeye at heart. So definitely one of the best wrestling states out there. Was known for, they're terrific people. So terrific wrestlers and whatnot. That was always that was fun.
Yeah. No, when I was a little kid, my mom was a grad of University of Iowa Nursing School, and she bought season tickets, and I was in like 8th grade at the time. And we would go up early to Iowa City. We'd stay in a hotel the night before the game, and then we'd get up and we'd go. And back then, the wrestling team would practice on Saturdays in the field house, and the football fans would be in there watching. A lot of football fans would be kind of hanging out and watching the Iowa wrestling team practice. Well, back then, Lou and Ed Bannock were starters for the University of Iowa. Both ended up being NCAA champions. And I think they both won gold medals in the Olympics, actually. But Lou and Ed and their brother Steve, that I didn't know about, who was he was an Army Ranger, I believe, before he came to the University of Iowa. So all three of them were doing winner stays out. It's a group of three. The guy that wins the takedown stays on the mat, and then another guy shuffles in. You keep doing that rotation. And so Steve's a tough guy, but Lou and Ed are monsters. And Steve's getting beat up. And suddenly Lou and Ed are shoving him around, calling him a pussy, all this other stuff. And Steve's like, you guys are assholes, man. You guys are complete assholes. And Lou and Ed are like, dude, go down the other end of the mat with the lightweight, you pussy. Get out of here. Get out of here. It was just, as an 8th grader watching these monsters do this to their brother, I was just like, okay, this is what this is all about. These guys are for real, and these are some scary boys, man.
It's amazing.
That was fun.
I love hearing those stories.
Yeah, it was neat stuff. Watching the Iowa wrestling practices, and I was lucky to be able to go up and watch Iowa practices off and on. And one year after Royce Alger had fought in the UFC and lost a couple times, he got knocked out once and got his arm dislocated in another fight. I used to go up to Iowa City during the summers and wrestle with the Hawk Club guys. And Alger, I would go out and I'd run the stairs at Carver Hawkeye Arena. And I'm like, you going to run them with me, Alger? And he's like, dude, I've run these stairs more than anyone in the history of this university. He goes, you go run them. He goes, the A-team's here, Militage, I got this. So he didn't really train that hard for fights. He really didn't immerse himself in jiu-jitsu and boxing and kickboxing and everything. So, he ended up losing those two fights in the UFC and kind of got spun out of the organization. So I'm talking to Alger on the floor of Carver Hawkeye Arena before a wrestling meet down by one of the tunnels. And the Brands boys, commentary Brands, and these guys are rough cats, mean, aggressive dudes. They come up and they stand on either side of us like bookends while we're talking to each other, and they're both staring at my face, and I can feel it, burning holes in me. And Terry goes, Militage, when's Alger going to get another fight in the UFC? And I looked at him real matter of fact, and I go, well, Terry, when he learns how to fight. And Terry kind of looked at me like, all right, I get it.
Hey, Pat, guess what? We got 4 minutes left of the show. Where can people find your podcasts and support you?
They can go to Rockfin. It's that podcast. My co-host has a channel, but that podcast channel is where it is, and there's several different podcasts in there, but the Conspiracy Farm is in there, and then a couple other ones. But so people can find it there on Rockfin. And then they can just go to theconspiracyfarm.com and listen to all of our episodes there. I think we had gotten demonetized by YouTube literally almost at the start of our show. So we had to get creative.
Right now. At least you didn't get kicked off of YouTube.
They've removed some of our shows, and we're not quite sure what we said in there, but
the truth would be the answer.
Yeah, the truth.
Yeah, pretty much. So that's
So
probably
check
it. And then people can go. I sell a lot of black oxygen organics. It adds 45% more oxygen at a cellular level. It increases endurance like you would not believe. This is the real deal. It's totally organic, plant-based. So it's nano in size. It can travel in and out of the cells, carries 45% more oxygen and nutrients to the cell, activates the mitochondria, which is the furnace of the cell, and on the way out of the cell, removes heavy toxins and heavy metals and toxins and even viruses. And yes, that is backed by research. And people's bodies are literally healing because of the nutrients in this. We've eaten food mass-produced in the same soil for so long that there's no nutrients left in the soil. So this is basically 2,000 different types of plants that have decomposed for 60,000 years in bogs up in Canada. And my friend figured out a CO2 pressurized process, how to remove that stuff and concentrate it. So when you put it in the body, I'm telling you, it is insane. The endurance stuff that's happening, the healing that's happening, it's amazing.
Yeah,
so that's blackoxygenorganics.com/Pat Militage.
We'll definitely check that out. I'll get him the information. We've got a couple minutes, and I definitely want Brody Manson to close us out with a couple guitar tunes.
Nice.
We can do that.
You guys don't mind, Sean? We'll see you guys next Friday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, and guests will be announced on Friday. Pat, thank you so much for coming on. Stay on for a little bit just to hear these guys play. They are amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
You're very welcome. Okay, take it away, Brody.
Truly was an honor meeting you, man. I've followed your career for time. There's so much respect for you, man. It was really an honor to be on here with you.
Thank you, sir. You too.
Yes, sir. We're gonna do a song. We're gonna let Sean sing this one. This is his song, and I'm gonna step away and I'm just gonna do some backup vocals and let Mr. Sean Z sing his tunes.
Gotta read tune, please.
See, doesn't this sound amazing already?
Everyone loves to hear guitar.
Let's do it.
Yourself away into the corners of your mind. You can think of yourself there. All the colors you will find in the corners of your mind. All the colors you will find. You were once, you were twice, you were always on my mind. You were then, you are now, you will always my someday. Where we left off, you can never have enough. Picking up where we left off. You were once, you were twice, you were always on my mind. You were then, you are now, you will always my someday. You were once, you were twice, you were always on my mind. You were then, and you are now. You were always my son, always my someday. Always my someday. Always my someday. Always my someday. Always my someday.
Thank you guys. You were fantastic.
Thank you.
Paul. Thank you, Brody.
Awesome.
Love you guys. See you next time.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Awesome.
Go on.